Hey, what is happening, my fearless networking friends? Todd Falcone here. Welcome back to another episode. And in today's episode, I'm going to talk to you about Zoom land, Zoom USA, seems like, or Zoom world, if you will. Obviously, given all that's going on around the planet at the moment, people are spending more and more time using Zoom as a platform to communicate whatever their message is that they're communicating, business opportunity presentations, trainings. As of the date of me actually doing this particular recording, I think I've done 57 Zooms in the last 2 weeks and literally been living in Zoom land. So what I wanted to do in this particular episode is talk about how to do more professional looking and more, just better quality Zooms. A lot of people are just throwing their computer on and going for it and just, not even thinking about how to make the best impression that they possibly can. So you don't need to be a professional videographer, but you do need to do a few things to make sure that the quality of what you're doing is as best as you possibly can make it, given whatever tools that you have in front of you. So, all right. So I'm going to give you 11 things to do, 11 ideas to make sure that your Zooms are more professional looking. All right. Number one is dealing with composition. So when we talk about video composition, actually the first three I'm going to talk about are going to be about composition. Composition, in this case right now, for example, I'm sitting here in this frame and I can move around in the frame. One thing I'll just help you understand this. There's something in photography and videography called the rule of thirds. And the rule of thirds basically discusses this whole concept of dividing your screen vertically, the line would be here and the line would be here into thirds. Essentially, your eyes want to be on the upper third. So if we were to take this screen and divide it into thirds, I'm properly positioned in the camera where we've got it framed. Now you could be completely in the middle and be in the center third, or you could be on the left third or the right third when we divide it vertically as well. But very importantly, that your eyes are on that upper third. Okay, that's number one. It's called the rule of thirds, and you can actually go look that up. But really important from a composition standpoint. I'll see people that are, this is something you don't want to do. You don't want to be like having the camera down below you and they're looking up at your chin. I mean, we all know that an angle that the camera is approaching you at, even if you're skinny, is not going to be the most attractive angle if it's looking up at you. So ideally at your eye level or above your eye level is where you want the camera to be. So you don't want to be looking straight up either. But I do think having an angle where the camera is looking up at you is not going to be the most attractive angle as well. I've seen people pull, I don't remember what that cartoon was when we were kids, but the guy that was at the very bottom and he was kind of climbing on and holding on to the fence and all you could see was his nose. That's not a good look either. And I'll also say this really quickly. I'm sure some of you are catching me on audio on the podcast. I would suggest definitely for this one, you want to go to toddfalcone.com/episode 71, because you're going to want to see the video because I'm kind of showing some of this stuff. So if you're catching me on audio, you're really not going to get the full gist of this particular episode unless you watch the video portion. So toddfalcone.com/episode 71. And if you're on my YouTube channel as well, you might want to head over there as well. So composition is dealing with also framing. When you're framing your shot, like you want to think about, what's behind you, right? Is it super cluttered in your background? If you're doing a video outside, is there a tree coming out so it looks like you got a tree coming out of your head? Are you doing it in your house and your kids are walking by or the dog's walking by? You want to think about what's going on behind me. And like, for example, what you see behind me is intentional. I've got this little thing here with the plants. I've got my little speaker. I've got my crystal over here. I've got my little lava lamp that you can see. So I think you want to think about how you're framing the actual shot before you do the actual shot. Like, doing it up against just a plain white wall is just super plain. So think about how can you dress up, but not to dress up your background so it's appealing to the people that are watching whatever it is that you're doing on Zoom. I think that's really important. If it's too distracting, they're going to be, pulled into the distraction. Even I can hide my lava lamp right there, and it's not maybe as distracting. You might be like looking at the lava lamp going, hey, there's the lava lamp. Instead, I'll just move that over. And so that's framing and how you set up the shots really important. Okay. That's number one. Number two is lighting. So you got to be thinking about, and you don't have to be a professional lighting person in order to do this. If you've ever shot against I'm not going to open up this window here, but if I shot with that window open, that backlighting would cause me to get dark. And sometimes if you can even play with it, take your laptop out and then go against a window that's in your background and with light showing in. And then what it's going to do is going to make your face completely dark and you can't see yourself. So you want to have some kind of frontal lighting. Using a ring light or something like that is going to make it more appealing. I have good enough lighting in here where I'm not using a ring light. Ideally, I could probably dim this light up above me so I don't have so much shine on my head. But you want to think about that, and you don't want to have shadows in the background either. So if you have a big giant shadow because you've got this light on top of you and you've got this shadow every time you're moving, the shadow in the background is moving, that's going to be distracting as well. And that's also under the whole idea of composition. So it's the whole setting up of the shot. It's also the lighting, so you're well lit, not too much lit, not too shady. You want to be presentable. Number three is audio, right? So audio right here, for example, I'm using a blue, I think it's the Yeti blue microphone on a shock mount, and the audio quality, like I'm not going to change right now, but the audio quality on the external microphone that your computer has is not going to be nearly as good as a high quality microphone. And even like using earbuds, like you can use earbuds, but then you've got them dangling from your ears. That's fairly distracting. I've actually just, I'm in the process, I've got some on order. So I've worn these headphones multiple times. These are when I'm in my studio doing recordings, but then you got these big things on your ear as well. And I've done many Zooms, many trainings with these things on, but having like an in-ear monitor where it's less intrusive, doesn't make you look like Mickey Mouse, is probably better. So I've got these things on order, or not these, but in the ear monitors. That way you're able to hear and it's not coming out of your speaker, because if it's coming out of your speaker, it'll go into the mic as well, and that can actually cause echoing. So ideally what you want to do is create the best user experience as possible. So number one is the whole framing and composition using the rule of thirds. And you'll notice something. I'm doing this on purpose for you guys, and I'm going to include this as one of the items here. You might see my eyes look right here. Now, actually, I don't want to skip ahead, but I'll cover that, because right here, and you don't see it, is I've got a couple of notes in front of me to just make sure I'm covering these points. So point number one, composition, framing your body, or framing yourself. Number two, composition, lighting, talking about lighting. Number three, composition, sound. Okay, external mic. And you'll notice that the microphone on your computer is very likely going to pick up on ambient room noise more so than using a microphone like this, for example. So when I switched over, because I was doing I do a lot of video production, and I'll use a lavalier mic, but when I was doing Zooms and Facebook Lives originally, I was just doing it, and I'll still do it sometimes just out of my phone. But when you're doing a Zoom and you can actually plug in a decent microphone, you're going to get way better quality. It's just the sound is just so much more rich and full by using that kind of microphone. So that's number three. Now, number four, and if you've noticed, now here's the mistake that people make, especially on Zooms, because you've got a group of people. Now, my computer, my camera is right up there. And then the people in my Zoom are right down here. So a lot of times, now if you notice, now I've changed and I'm looking at the people in my Zoom. Right now, there's no people in my Zoom. But if you notice, I'm not really looking at you. And so there's less of a connection when you're sitting here. And this happens all the time. Somebody's on your Zoom and you're talking and you're like, hey, how's it going? But this is when they really see you, when you're looking directly into the lens. That's how you create a connection. So I see this happening all the time. People are on Zooms and they're looking down here and they're looking over here, but they're not really looking into the camera lens. So look straight directly into the camera lens, and you're going to create a much better connection with your audience. That's number 4, right? Look directly into the lens as I look at my notes. Number 5 is control house noise. So ideally, like, I've got dogs, I got a new puppy, and, my garage door is directly below my office. So if the garage door opens, if I'm recording something, I'll tell my wife, don't open the garage door. I'm in the middle of doing a recording, because you'd hear it. If my phone rang right now, my landline phone is unplugged. And so my mobile phone is on vibrate. So I want to eliminate noise. If I've got guys outside working in the yard, I got to make sure my windows are closed, or I'm going to do the Zoom later if it's a recorded Zoom, for example, so I'm not dealing with the lawnmower or the blower out there. So ideally, you want to do your best to reduce any kind of distraction or noise that might take place, including computer sounds. I don't know if you caught it earlier, but about maybe 2 minutes ago, there was a little computer sound that popped up, and that was intentional. So I left the sound open on this computer. I don't know if it was a Facebook message coming in, but it dinged, and maybe another one will happen. And you'll notice, I kind of got distracted by doing that. So that's what is that? That's number 5 is reducing house noise. Number 6. And now here's the thing. Let me actually do this. I'm going to actually do this while I'm doing this video. I'm going to take this off. Okay. This is my little sheet of paper with my notes. I had it up here. So there's also nothing wrong, by the way, with having notes. And I'm going to go into that in point number 8, but I want to focus on point number, what am I on right now? Number 6. Number 6 is be presentable. I've done trainings with tie-dye t-shirts on. I've done trainings looking like garbage, but I think if you're doing a training or you're doing a Zoom, at least be presentable. I don't wear a coat typically at home. Notice I have a button-down shirt. Sometimes I'll wear a short sleeve shirt. If you've noticed, most of my training videos, not all, but most of my training videos, I've stuck with black, either black polo shirt, black button-down shirt, or a black V-neck t-shirt. So why have I done that? I've got all these crazy shirts. I've got this color and that color. Here's why. Want to know? Because I have like this amazing crazy shirt collection. You see my shirt one time, you're not going to forget the shirt. And so this way, and I have many of these shirts, but I could literally wear the same black button-down shirt every day until it maybe started smelling or something. And then it's time for me to take it to the dry cleaners. But you wouldn't know the difference because I'm just wearing black. Now that's something I've chosen to do. But then it also doesn't require me to have 865 different outfits so that, they saw that shirt once, they'll remember that shirt. Oh, I saw that same shirt on a video. And that's just a personal choice that I made. It requires me to have less of a wardrobe, and maybe less distracting as well, because of Robert Graham shirts and other shirts I wear, it's like super crazy, and it's probably a little bit distracting for the audience, even though for years I was known as the speaker dude with the shirts, right? So that is number 6, be presentable. Number 7, actually, isn't it amazing when people take the time to smile at you and how that makes you feel, right? First of all, it makes you feel better because it releases endorphins in your body, and it's a whole lot different than you're talking to somebody. I mean, you can be serious about something, but if you throw in a smile, if you're actually having a good time and you're showing through your actions and through your facial gestures that you're having a good time, people are going to lighten up and enjoy the process even more that you're putting in front of them. So, and you notice how intently I'm looking into your eyes. I got direct eye contact with you again because I'm looking directly here, when naturally, this is what naturally happens. This is, I want to reiterate my point. Your eyes are easily pulled down into your audience because you're looking at your audience. And now, as you can tell, my eyes are not looking at you because I'm looking at John and Susie and Bill and whoever else might be on the screen. You want to make sure that you're focusing on the camera lens, right? By the way, speaking of camera lenses, most of your camera lenses on these newer computers are pretty good, but an external webcam can actually provide much higher video quality. So that's something to consider as well. Even though I'm on a relatively new computer and this is actually coming from the lens of my computer, if I had, for example, Logitech makes a bunch of good ones. There's other brands as well, but that will definitely make an impact on your video quality in terms of what you look like on camera. So we want to make sure we're looking as good as possible with proper framing, good, decent background, not too busy, We want to make sure that the lighting is good, that we're not shadows in our background, or we're not overly lit, or, shadowed out face because we got too much backlight. It's just going to make it a lot more professional when you're doing the presentations. Now I'm going to look down again and go, okay, wait a minute, here we go. Number 8, you ready? Number 8 is prepare your content. So, okay, now here's something that I learned when I began speaking. And it's something called chunking, right? Chunking involves you, for example, let's say you're going to give a 20-minute presentation, or you're going to give an hour-long presentation. Somebody's like, oh my gosh, an hour-long presentation, that's a long time. Well, it is. And if you're thinking about your hour-long presentation, oh my gosh, that's so overwhelming. But if you go, wait a minute, I'm giving this hour-long presentation. What if I broke it up into 6 chunks, 6 10-minute chunks, right? Or whatever it is, 5 to 7 to 10 minutes. You go, okay, point number 1. Like right now, I've got 11 points, 11 ways to be more professional giving your Zoom presentations, or whatever we end up titling this thing. So it's 11 different points. Now, I'm point number 8, which is prepare your content. You can have notes in front of you. Nothing wrong with having notes. Nothing wrong with you could tape it up here. You could have it bulleted up on your screen. You could have it up above here. And you can get to a point also, if you've given your presentation, if it's a regular presentation that you're doing, you get to a point where you can just give the presentation and be in full connection, eye contact, without ever looking anywhere, right? So this particular training that I'm doing on how to do more professional Zooms, I don't want to miss one, so I've got them bulleted out in front of me. And number 8 is prepare your content ahead of time. So have it written out in bullets. And to make it easier for you, instead of like 1 hour-long presentation, it's like point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4, point 5, close. Open your 4 major points, your close. Whether you're doing a Zoom presentation, a stage presentation, or anything else for that matter, it's going to make it a lot easier. Number 9. You ready for this one? Remember when you're on a Zoom and other people got background noise going on? You're going to probably be on a Zoom, and maybe you're on a Zoom where you're talking and then you're not talking. As soon as you're done talking, press mute. Press the mute button. It's in the lower left-hand corner of your Zoom screen. Press the button, mute yourself out. That way, no noise is heard. You cough, it's not being heard. Whatever is going on in your background is not being heard, but it's just being professional, being polite for the other speakers, and something that we've all been on Zooms before, and you hear somebody screaming and having a conversation. We've all done it. If you've been on Zoom, you've had somebody say something weird and they don't have a clue that their microphone is still hot. So you as a presenter absolutely need to know that. And I think it's just important that if you're doing a training or doing some of the presentation with multiple people, microphone is unmuted when you're talking, and when you're not talking, it's muted. That way you just eliminate and you have as clean of a situation as possible. Are you ready? All right. Number 10. Number 10, engage your audience. So for example, now I know this is a one-way deal. This is a recorded video. Again, my podcasters, those of you who are listening on audio, you definitely want to go to toddfalcone.com/episode 71. And if you're on YouTube as well, head on over there so you can see the rest of the story, because it's not going to be on either one of those. So you're going to be kind of missing some of it. So engaging your audience. Well, with Zoom, you've got the ability to create polls. And I'm not going to go into how to create polls, but you can go Google that or look that up inside of your Zoom account. So you can engage them by asking them questions. You can do interactive sessions. I run a 12-week accountability program, and we do it on Zoom. And people can engage and they can interact. They can ask questions. There's the chat box on the right-hand side of the screen. They can ask questions there. You can do screen share, for example, if you want to teach a specific lesson. You can do a screen share, which enables you to go show stuff on the internet, wherever you might be. You can maybe you have a PowerPoint presentation. You can fire up your PowerPoint, and you're adding additional elements to it rather than just talking to an audience and talking to and staring into your screen with a smile and a positive attitude, right? So that is super important too, especially with longer Zoom meetings. I do Zoom trainings. Last few weeks, I've done, like I said, almost 60 of them. And in all of those, while I've never done any screen share, I've done an exercise. And I will literally have everybody out there, and I'll go, hey, and there's a particular maybe you've seen me do this if you're on any of those Zooms, and I will go, hey, pull out your phones. I want to do this quick exercise. And it's a very simple exercise. I'm not going to do it now, but I get them involved. And so it's not just the person talking the entire time. So I think it's important that you do that. Number 11, this is the last one. Ready? Technology is a little weird. sometimes. I don't know if you've had this happen, but I'm running into a Zoom last minute and go in there to fire up my Zoom and my camera doesn't turn on. It's like, wait a second. It's like grayed out and doesn't allow you to turn your camera on. But if you would have restarted your computer, I can almost assure you that by restarting your computer, when you go into that next Zoom meeting, your camera will turn on, especially if you're the presenter. Can you imagine being the presenter on a Zoom meeting, a video conferencing type of meeting, and they can't see you? So plan ahead, and not just for that, but also for the resources that there might be other things that are running on your computer at the same time. Like if you haven't restarted your computer in a while, you got this open, that thing running, this thing open, that thing open, and you want to make sure that you allow the resources of your computer system, whatever you're on, to put all those resources into that Zoom meeting rather than being pulled in multiple directions. So simply by restarting your computer, you're going to make sure that you don't bump into that problem of, number one, not having your camera turned on. Because I've made the mistake. I've done it. And I've had to go into a Zoom. Oh, sorry, you can't see me, but you can hear me. And also it'll just free up any kind of resources on your computer to make sure that you get the best quality experience as possible. So it's not hard to do this stuff, right? It's just thinking ahead of time. How do I want to frame this? I'll move this really quickly. I could easily, and because of this microphone, I could have it out of the screen, like I just did. I just moved it out of the screen, and you're still. I mean, the audio might have gone down slightly but it's a microphone that picks up a lot of sound. I don't need to have the microphone shown in the actual screenshot, but I tend to just kind of keep it there because my lava lamp, which I like to be burning in the background, happens to sometimes distract people. So I might put it to right there. But, again, the audio, the lighting, the framing, the preparation, you having better quality audio is going to make a huge difference. You having good quality lighting, a simple ring light. I mean, you could go invest a little bit of money, get a nice microphone, get a ring light, buy a plant, that little plant back there, right there where my thumb is. That's a fake plant. Yeah, it's fake, but it is a little plant. It's a cute little plant in the corner. And before I had a bunch of stuff back there, which was a little bit too distracting. So I actually purposefully changed that up because I do so many videos from this particular location. So again, what kind of experience are you looking to create for all those people that you're getting on your Zooms, right? Now we're all Zooming probably more than we ever have in our entire lifetime. So just a couple quick tips, actually 11 tips on producing better quality Zooms for your audience. Again, I'm not sure where you're catching me. If you're on my podcast or you're on YouTube, head over to toddfalcone.com/episode 71, TODDFALCONE.com/episode 71. So, hey, have an amazing day. Stay fearless, my friends, and we'll see you on the next episode.